people, and it's gone on far too long.
Okay, my name is Lakin Dillingham, and I grew up in Barberville, Kentucky. I always have to write things down a little bit because when I talk about emotional things, I always get lost. Barbersville. Barberville.
It's not spelled the same.
B-A-R-B-O-U-R. Yeah. All right. I just want to start with saying that movement work changed me a lot, and I mean, of course, like it changes everyone in some way, big and small, but I didn't realize that, sorry, it changed how I think of the world, and made me realize that like action isn't spontaneous, and that it doesn't happen out of the blue, and that there are always people putting in work. There are always people building on generations of work and paving the way for generations to come. And I always knew that I didn't want to live in the world where I was always being told that's just the way it is. And it took finding movement spaces to give me some affirmation to really know that that wasn't true. And to move past inherited complacency that there are people living out what they want to see in the world. So I am a first-generation student, a food service worker, and a queer person who was born and raised in Knox County, Kentucky. I've at times balanced living in my car, working through jobs to pay for school and save for an apartment, and then doing the same balancing act to pay for various car repairs and rent once I found a place. Me and my siblings grew up getting off the bus to make decorative rock with our grandparents until my mom would get off work. And when we stayed with Dad, we were used to, collecting buckets of rainwater, and we'd use that to boil on the cast iron stove. We were used to Mom's overtime and Dad's child support until a construction injury resulted in him, his recreational drug use becoming a drug addiction, and he couldn't work any longer. I was used to watching my mom walk into the grocery store, or waiting to walk into the grocery store until it was cleared out so that people wouldn't notice we had SNAP. I grew up in a conservative and majority white town, consumed with that Christian nationalist outlook, and I was forced to remain closeted due to a lifetime threat of abuse and being disowned for my identity. I also grew up hearing lessons about the kinds of kids I, a white person, should never hang out with, which, among other queer folks, included black and brown people, with a lot of emphasis about the ways they were inevitably going to hurt me, the violence that they were going to perpetrate against me. 2 years after I graduated, I met a lot of people. We got together a group for Kentuckians for the Commonwealth. We did a lot of work, but eventually I found myself applying for a organizing apprenticeship with KFDC. That lasted 6 months, and in that 6 months, I made more money than my mom made in a year, taking care of me and my siblings. My first staff meeting with KFDC was a diversity training, and that was conducted by Carolyn Taylor Shim. And we worked through a checklist of some of the microaggressions and stereotypes and discriminative assumptions that were ingrained in us, and it hit me that I wasn't welcome to use they language about racist people because racism is still deep in my heart. Getting away from my family didn't mean I was rejecting all that they were, that I wasn't still a product of their teachings. For all that we went through together, I can't mention in just a few minutes, for the ways that they kept us afloat through my entire life. They were also my heroes, and the things they taught me stuck. It wasn't until middle school when I got access to internet and was able to start understanding why some of the things they told me made me so uncomfortable. I had the understanding that I was queer and that they said cruel, untrue things about people like me, so they must be saying untrue things about other identities that they told me about. But before then, I tried to be who they told me to be. I prayed for gay people to get better. I made racist jokes. I laughed at racist jokes. I didn't defend kids bullied on the bus because I was so scared of what person they'd see me as, that they know I was queer, and if I told them to leave the kid they were spitting on and calling a fairy alone, because Christians don't help gay people unless they're gay too. And I'm so used to the fear-mongering and this idea that was planted in me that all of these things have been made by fear. I don't know if any of you passed the Journey Through Hell sign on the way here. That was used against us when we were younger to kind of, it's literally a play. You're literally going through on a hayride through a cornfield, and they're making this play about what it's going to be like when you're burning in hell. And that's used every Halloween. But, you know, I'm sick of living in fear, sick of letting that silence me, and that's why I'm really honored to be here today, to see a room full of people in the area that I was from, the place that I was so scared would never get better, that I felt like I would always have to leave. And we're pleased to welcome Reverend William Barber and Reverend Liz Thea Harris, because I don't know, I can't, there are no words. There really aren't.
Somebody's hurting our people, and it's going on.